Call 911. Your grandparents are going to kill you tonight. Stick around and we'll tell you why.
Who are you?
I'm Dr. Paul.
I'm Diet Dr. Paul.
Together, we are Rotten Potatoes with a hot take on a movie you probably have never heard before.
And you've definitely never seen it before. And it has a 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes. So you know it's going to be absolutely amazing.
The Elderly. Yep.
So I kind of sprung this one on you last minute. Did you have any expectations for this movie?
You did a great disservice to me.
Why?
Because you said this is the next Where Evil Lurks.
So I drove your expectations through the roof.
Where Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks.
Is it When Evil Lurks? It has a specific structure to it.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking for the parallels between it. And I wasn't getting it.
Mhm.
And so there's an expression in Texas. I mean, you were born in Texas, and I went to school there and lived there, private practice there for a while. But there's an expression when somebody talks about somebody, they'll say they're all hat and no cattle.
Mhm.
You know, so it's all posing. You know, you get your hat and your belt buckle kind of thing, but you're really not a rancher.
Mhm.
That just kept coming up. So, okay, this is just, there's nothing here. This is empty. Get to the point, get to the point, get to the point. When are we going to see When Evil Lurks? And so you really kind of, that was a disservice. But it's not the first time you've disappointed me. So
Turn the camera off. I figured that I was going to ruin it for you by saying that. And I should have told you it's well, but how do you, I can't get you excited to watch something like, it was mediocre.
I told you I would watch anything. Okay, yeah. I did. I mean, you remember there's a scene in the show where one of the characters is throwing up into a toilet, and I'm commenting on that's a square toilet seat. What does that tell you?
That you're not paying attention to the movie. Anytime he's got his iPad out in the middle of the movie, he's like Googling facts about it.
But that's it. The setup on this is essentially an elderly woman commits suicide and leaves her husband behind. He is having all kinds of what we believe is dementia, tics disease. He moves in with his son's new wife, and the daughter, and sort of everything just sort of comes unhinged at this point. Creepy, eerie kind of things. And it's all about, people that are old and voices that they hear. And that's pretty much the setup on it.
But that setup is in no way indicative of how the movie turns out, unfortunately, because it has got a
apocalyptic,
weird ending to it, very ambiguous, to sort of like you could pick up all sorts of different things from it.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to get into that yet. What did you pick up at the end of it? Like, what was your explanation for the end of the movie?
I was more intrigued by what I think the movie was saying than the way the movie ended.
Mm-hmm.
And
what do you think the movie was saying then?
Well, here's what I believe happened. And you never know when somebody art is art, right? And we all look at it and we all create our own reality. When I started writing my first novel, I wrote myself into a corner. And I wonder, in this movie, they have this great first act, second act, how does it end? And so they sort of took this whole apocalyptic thing into the world and kind of, whatever this means, which for me was unsatisfying kind of deal.
Okay.
I think the young daughter in this early on is saying, ooh, old people, it's kind of like they're gross. They never listen to you.
Well, no, she says it's gross. We don't listen to them.
Yes, that's what I meant. But here's the thing. It's a complete flip from my generation, where that used to be what we talked about with young people. Nobody listens to them. Think about Breakfast Club. We just did that. And so we do have this kind of split. There is a key element in this movie, and it has to do with global warming. and it's constantly throughout it. You have the temperature, and you have news flashes, and it'll update every so often, and it goes from 90 to 110 to 120 degrees. And I keep thinking, and this is all, I have not Googled this whatsoever,
Yeah, I haven't Googled any information about it
but
either.
I think what the movie is saying is that old people have ruined the world. We've ruined the economics. You think about from young people. Young people, the first generation in history that will not do better than the previous generation
Hmm.
economically. So we've really sort of taken being able to afford houses, what we've done to the environment. So in this movie, old people, the elderly, truly are they're the bad thing.
The
They're the enemy.
rightful villains.
They are the villains. And so for somebody that is young, this entire movie, it looks old and hot and claustrophobic and dirty. Even there's a scene in there where old people are having sex, and even that is terrifying. There's no love
What do
at
you mean,
all.
even that is terrifying? Of course, that's terrifying. So things dreams and nightmares are made out of.
I kind of, and there's a part of me that sort of resents this, but I understand it. I kept thinking about the movie called Cocoon, and it was Steven, or not, it felt like Steven Spielberg. I can't remember, but
Gutenberg.
Gutenberg was one of the actors in it, and it's a bunch of old people that get contact. I think it was aliens, and they all turn young, and it's kind of sweet, kind of thing. Aren't old people nice?
There's an eerie surrealism to it.
But this is not this. This is that we really, this is, and I may be the director, you could be watching this whole thing and saying, what were you smoking that you picked up? This has nothing to do with it. But it did make me feel like we really have demonized old people. And there's an element of technology in this as well,
Oh, very
where
much so.
they about hearing things through the radio, and they've got a drawer that's got 1,000 batteries in it, and people that sort of take radio signals and I don't want to give spoilers, but I just wonder that if this is again part of this whole thing, that technology, the young girl in this, video games, and so it's this stereotype that young people, all they want to do is just watch, hang out with their boyfriends or girlfriends and play video games. It really is the message that I think is that we've ruined the world, and we are not leaving behind very much for young people.
I get your message, and from everything that takes place in the film, I would agree with what you said until you get to the final act of the film, which changes everything.
And what do you think it's what's
I think it's an alien invasion film.
why are they picking on old people?
I think that it's whatever this veil is that they've created between our world and theirs. I think it's whatever devices they have on this ship that they can do this damage with, right? It's going to affect the weakest people first. So children and old people, it's going to affect first. And so these aren't like just old people. These are super old people in this movie.
So why didn't they make a movie instead of the elderly, the youngerly? Why didn't they do it with Children of the
Because
Damned?
it's just scarier. Old people are just scarier. We young people.
Operationalize that for me. What age do you consider to be old?
Do you have AARP? I mean, we're talking old here, not we're talking 90s, the twilight of life. And these people they're like affected by this in a way that it sort of drives them crazy as they get closer and closer.
The
and
grandpa
closer.
in this film is just 10 years older than me.
Yes, makeup, effects, lighting, they can make him look any age they want him to. Ask Max von Sydow. Ask what's the guy that's gonna John Dugan. They're probably your same age, and they were looking 50 years older than you 50 years ago. Just saying.
So alien invasion,
But that's why I love this movie, is because it was so different. The ending that you get is not the ending that you're expecting in this thing at all.
well, visually it was amazing. Just
I love the cinematography. There's some scenes in it where like the beginning of the credits. I love the credits in this movie because it starts and you're like, wait, is this a mountain range? But no, it's like a graphic texturalization of the inside of like a painting. Like if you were looking at like a painting from I don't know, like old lacquer paintings with a
Hmm.
thick paint on them. They would like raise off the painting surface.
Hmm.
It would almost look like a mountain range if you looked at it geographically. And that's what the opening scene was. They use there's scenes from the sky above at the end. Like there's some really really good cinematography in this movie.
Typically, in sometimes we do hot takes. We do what's called the verdict, and we say, what do you like? What do you not like? And we've sort of been all over the place. But why don't you summarize? What did you like most about the movie?
Well, the visual styling of it, I really like. You said the word claustrophobic. I've been using that word a lot lately in some movie reviews, but it's really applies to this. The heat, it's clammy. It made me want to take a shower.
Yes, I felt hot watching
Mhm.
this movie.
I think. Well, we'll get to the bad eventually, but I think like the actors look like real people. They seem to do a pretty good job of acting like real people in these situations. Um, it was shocking in a great way, very surprising in some ways, and it wasn't always blood and guts and knives in this that would make it visceral. The shower scene. That is one of the best scenes in the entire movie, and there's no blood, there's no nothing in that. It's visceral for a
Well,
completely
there's
different reason.
feces.
I wasn't going to say that, but it's just different, and that mixed with the sound design, like I really loved the music in it. It was a very operatic. It seemed almost like The Godfather. Um, what else? It wasn't too terribly long. I didn't feel like the pacing was all that bad. Um, and what about you?
Well, I agree with you about the sound design slash soundtrack, um, and it really does. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the uh, what is the whole series with the house cameras, and there's the demon that's inside.
Oh, Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity. One of those films, I remember that there was this sound that it would play, and every time you would hear that, then you knew something was going to happen, and it reminded me of that. So I love that. I love the performance in these. These people do look like real people. The acting of it, I think, was genuine.
Hmm.
Set design, amazing. Lighting was amazing. I totally agree with you about what you said about the it felt claustrophobic and dirty and old kind of stuff. And it's a Spanish film. It's done in Madrid with subtitles, which we probably should have said that
I've
earlier.
been all over some foreign films lately. Who needs American films?
I love.
I have not watched a what I would consider a Hollywood blockbuster film, like an American recent release in probably a month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I thought all of that was great. If we sort of turn the corner, and then what did we not like? I disagree with you on some of the pacing. It felt like it took a little bit longer to get to the point. And I realized you think about who they make films for. And I've mentioned before on our channel about that music videos and stuff. We don't have a whole lot of patience. We
Our
want to get
attention span's not
to it.
there.
And so I think that maybe some of the younger viewers of that film are just, oh, okay, what is this? It's just after a while, give me some jump scares and give me some a slash
Hmm.
kind of stuff. I do think it could have been tightened up, the editing just a little bit more. Um, the 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 other thing about this is that it is sad to me, and it's not it's I guess it's not a flaw in the film, but it reveals to me sort of some structural problems that we have with society, and in that it used to be families were more intact and they were more intergenerational, and so you didn't when grandma or grandpa got old, you didn't ship them off somewhere. You kept them, and you cared for them, they cared for you, that kind of stuff. And we've lost a lot of that. And I'm not saying we should need to go
He's
back to
not
the night.
talking to you guys anymore. He's talking to me.
I'm not saying let's go back to the 50s, but that really was when we were more of an agricultural society where you had to have large families because you had to have lots of kids, primarily sons, to either manage the livestock or manage the crops. And older people, were sort of part. And it's about the wisdom of the old people. One of the things that's real clear in especially in the Old Testament is talking about what the value of age and having white hair. And I feel like I'm a smarter person now than I was at 16. At 16, I thought I knew everything, kind
Hmm.
of stuff. I think we lose that. We lose the ability to listen to people that are older and the wisdom that comes within that. And I think the movie sort of brought that out to me. It's not a flaw in it, but it did make me a little sad as I was watching it. Like, doggone it, young people are there did seem to be a little bit of an affectionate relationship between the grandpa and the
Well, that's what I was
granddaughter.
gonna say. Is she's the only person that listens to Grandpa. She's the
Mhm.
only person that asked him, like, "How do you feel? What's going on?" And then he's the only person that she spoke with, which is really why I think that it doesn't have this as negative a viewpoint on old people as you think. I think it thrusts that out there in the beginning in order to draw some poignancy to this connection with the granddaughter. I do think that it proffers that question that have old people ruined the world? And I think that's an important question outside of horror films. Um, but I don't think it's as derogatory as maybe the first third would have you seen, or first two thirds would have you seen.
If you were in that film.
I'm making it out alive.
Yeah.
I'm going. It's going to be Dead Alive with old people. Anybody got a lawnmower?
You said in it that this reminds me of Dead Alive. What about it?
Well, the visual style, a
Uh,
lot of the buildings, especially, and maybe it comes from the last one, Evil Dead Rise. There's a lot of these exterior shots of that building from the corner, and I guess whatever lens they're using, it really just like fisheyes it and just makes it look really big and imposing. They love to start shots of the scene that come from the home that they're staying in. That corner shot of a lot. The color scheme, it has a lot of like slow pans into hallways behind characters, so just the cinematography kind of reminded me of it. Not necessarily that there's demons or ghosts or that or the other.
I think the director had a very deft hand. He didn't take both the script and the director cheap shots. There's this mirrors play heavily in this thing.
Hmm.
And I kept thinking every time there was a mirror or something, and he put a tablecloth or a sheet over
I'm
top
gonna
of it,
pull back.
yes, that you're going to see grandma's face or whatever. And they didn't do that. They
No,
really never took that. And a less assured hand would have done that for the jump scares kind of
yes,
stuff.
there's only, I believe, really one jump scare, and you kind of know that it's coming. It's not one of those cheap ones like you're saying someone closes a mirror in a bathroom and there's a face behind it. I think those are cheap, and I agree. It wasn't. It didn't feel like he had to do that or cheapen the experience by adding that to it. I think it worked better as the slow burn, sort of to the chaotic ending there.
Before you give it your verdict, your score,
Excuse me.
I think art sort of promotes us in the way that we live and say, what's the response to this that you think to for you and your place in the world? What's the therefore I should or therefore I should not?
Well, I think you're absolutely correct on the family aspect of things. As I grow older, and maybe as a younger me, I'd have a different opinion. I see the necessity in family and connecting and caring about them and doing all that. And I think that that's really maybe the positive message is some cohesion in a family. And this wouldn't have happened if the husband listened to the wife, if the husband listened to the dad, if the husband listened, or if the dad listened to the mom. Like all these different relationships where connection seems to be the issue, and the only really relationships that do have connection in the film are the relationships that thrive and make it towards the end of the film. So I think there's something to glean from that for sure.
So Wednesday, I can move in with you.
Are you washing dishes? You mean Wednesday I'm moving in with you?
Here's what I think for y'all, especially our younger people, um, don't seek out your grandparents or your great grandparents or even your fathers. I know a lot of people sort of grow up in families and it wasn't a pleasant experience and broken homes and absent fathers and all those kind of things. Reach out and really try to make those connections. It is a gift for yourself, not so much yes, it's a gift to your grandparents or your parents, but it is a gift from you. I think life is short, and I do believe that if you did that, you will learn. You'll learn about yourself, your place in the world, and you will learn how to love. And we need all the love we can in the world.
You always had to make something poignant.
Verdict.
The Verdict. What's my verdict?
Mhm.
I think it's a very, very, very good movie, and I don't care what you say. I think it is absolutely on the caliber of When Evil Lurks, Where Evil Lurks, or whatever it's called, and The Coffee Table 100%.
It's definitely that would be a really nice movie marathon. These three films.
Yeah, I could get behind all three of them, and they're all Spanish too, or was one of them Italian?
I don't want to go there. So
If you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10,
you always ask me for my number
I
first,
know,
and then you just
I know it's going to be different this time.
I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
That was a little bit higher than I expected. I give mine like an 8.8. It's definitely the weakest of the three films if you
I
were to
agree.
measure it against them. But I also think that it's the most abrasive, it's the most shocking, it's the most over the top of the three. So if you're a fan of those aspects of the movies over things like the psychological terror or the slow burn, then you may like this one better. But for my sensibilities, I like a good slow burn.
Well, the for me, it's an 8, and it really would have been higher, but it was the patience that it required for it to finally just get its hooks
Yeah, yeah.
into
If I
me.
could, it reminded me a little bit of the movie Mandy with Nicolas Cage, and not in anything of like the subject matter, but in how like if you hold on through certain parts of it, the payoff is legendary. That's the best way to
Yeah,
say that.
yeah. I suspect that this might be one of those films that's better on a second viewing than the
I liked it
first
better the
viewing.
second time. I
Yeah.
did because I picked up things that I missed the first time. The pregnancy aspect,
Square toilet seat.
square toilet seat, mirrors. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. What do you think? Okay. Do you think that old people have ruined civilization as we know it? As always, like and subscribe. All of those techie things, you young people.
All of us young
Well,
folks.
when I was a kid, get outside, go play ball.
Quick before he cuts his chest open and shoves electronics inside of it and tries to kill me.
It's going to be if this movie became a thing,
Hmm.
it would be a hot Halloween costume next week, next this coming October. You'll know what I'm saying once you see the movie.
Nude
Everybody,
grandpa with a light in his chest.
yeah. Mhm.
Be prepared. There's nudity in here with old people, and we just got a rated R rating from YouTube for saying that.
No, we did.
I don't know.
Can you
I
edit
did.
that out?
I'm just kidding.
No.
I don't think that's actually a thing.
We drop a new episode here every single week. We have shorts that are dropping almost,
But now we drop it on Mondays.
Yes.
I don't know if we've said that.
Yes.
I switched it.
And check out his Tic Tac. What do you call it?
Tic Tac.
Diet.
Dr. Paul.
Yes. It's on fire kind of thing. It is. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see you
At the movies.